Wow.
You know,
Now, one of the things, I mentioned, so again, congratulations on 12 years of
thank
marriage
you,
with
thank you.
May. And again, not getting one of the conversations that I think comes up in the industry is around just relationships and not going too deep, but
Yeah.
what are some for those who are going through this journey with you, with anyone in this industry, what are some things that, just to be aware of? Because 90 hours, when do you have a life to have a relationship? So what are some of those things that kept you and May together through this? Because I'm sure it had to be a strain there.
Oh yeah.
And on
Oh yeah.
anyone's relationship owning a restaurant.
Especially when things are going bad,
Hmm.
things are going wrong. That's when it's the toughest. Especially when you have two different mindsets. If it was up to her, we would have closed down. I couldn't do it, and it was just a testament of like, let's just communicate and work together to make
Hmm.
this thing work.
Right.
Um, if we have like, I think what helped us out a lot is kind of sitting down together and realizing what's an exit strategy.
Okay.
Okay, if we hit this goal and we see things are going to turn around, please follow me. Let's do this together.
Gotcha.
But if we hit this mark where like, okay, there's no turning it around. I understand what we got to do in order to still
Awesome.
be okay. We'll go your route and we do it together. You know,
Wonderful. Yeah.
like
So
setting goals for each other was really
mhm,
important because it's hard, especially when you're working together. You see each other every day. We love each other to death, and you're loving your significant other. But there's a time of separation that you need in order to kind of clear your minds. Instead of being just like stuck to the hip. And that's one thing we realized because even throughout our relationship growing, in New York, she worked in her fields, I worked in mine. We had different schedules. Is almost like the fact where we make fun of it sometimes. We talked about it yesterday, like we missed each other so much. It was always great to see each other more and more, right? Because we
awesome.
have such different schedules. But when you start working together and there's things in line, there's a livelihood in line because our
Love it.
restaurants and businesses are livelihoods.
Mhm.
If we lose that, we lose a lot more than what you think, and what
I
people
love
think,
I love
financially,
that coming
mentally.
together. Yeah.
So it's like we together for a reason. Let's stick together. Let's communicate, and that's the key word. And everyone always says it for any part of relationship, whatever. Advice is like communication and communicating right instead of yelling and this and that. Like sit
Right.
down and let's really think things through um, as a couple and really go through it. And luckily we did that and we respected each other enough to do that. And we've been still open after all
Wow.
these years. alaMar 8.5 years old. We
Awesome.
pulled through. And that's that moment where we realized that we need to get back to the neighborhood is when everything changed for me. And I
Mhm.
became a person who just I want to give back to community first before I think about myself.
Awesome. And so speaking of that, COVID pandemic, and I know you were one of the main restaurants in Oakland feeding the community, giving back.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that time and how you really went into community mode.
Yeah, that was definitely a rough start. COVID really messed a lot of things up for us. I opened my second place, Sobra Mesa, only 9 days open, had to shut it down due to COVID. We're back open though. With alaMar, it was always that, and this is why I go back to when we did kind of realize we needed to tweak things over to be
Mhm.
more profitable and to be more of a neighborhood place.
Mhm.
We switched alaMar for full service and fast casual
Okay.
because for me it was always about keeping things accessible. I couldn't just raise my prices too high, no matter how the quality is, and I just couldn't do it for my community. It was that feeling like I need to be a neighborhood restaurant. I can't just think about being a destination.
Right.
So we swing things over, less staff, quality food still at a accessible price, and that pulled through to the pandemic because we made that switch. We were already set up for takeout. We're set up for having prices that are still accessible for everyone,
Mhm.
um, and we're set up for more community effort, for more catering, for more
Nice.
everything that we can do.
Nice.
And we decided together that this is our moment to give back as much as we can. There's a lot of people hurting. There's a lot of people who are lost their way, lost their jobs, are unhealthy, that need just comfort. And the best way to comfort people, for me, especially knowing, is with food. And we're like, okay, let's do all these cool programs. We signed up for the Lee Initiative. They reach out to us. That was
Mhm.
a program where by Chef Edward Lee, the Tough Chef alumni, creating giving hot meals and home essentials to laid off restaurant workers.
Wow.
So we started, calling people in the industry, like, come by for some food. We got home essentials. We had toilet paper sometimes, which is a hot
Mhm.
commodity.
Mhm.
Um,
It sure
sanitizer,
was.
oh yeah, oh yeah, coffee, water, things that would need, to kind of go out through the week, because a lot of people in this industry don't make much money
Right.
and they lost everything. Um, and we did fed the frontline workers, of course, our nurses, our doctors who are in the front line, trying to help people and save lives. We fed them. We did meals for the firefighters and the
Nice.
police sometimes, just for everyone, the homeless, the needy families. Like, we want to do more and more. We started with the initiative, and then we built up from there. We're like, this feels so good. This
Mhm.
warms my heart so much, and this, like, really is a tribute to community, to where I come from, to where I grew up.
Right.
Like, people did that for us there in the ghetto, there in the hood. I want to do that for my people, no matter
Right.
what location we're in. Um, I want to give back as much as we can, and we
Wow.
found a way to, like, bringing in some donations from producers, from farmers, and all that, and vendors, and also just, like, our own money, just to spend to give back. Because I
Awesome.
knew, the sense of what community really is about being bringing things full circle. When you give to community and you build community, the community is there for you when you
And
need
it
them.
goes right back.
And that the most amazing thing, Cherie, too, that really, like, brought tears to my eyes was when we're giving out meals to people and they come back hours later and actually buy a meal from us.
Oh, nice.
Like, that was so special. That's when I knew, like, we're doing the right thing. You know,
Wow.
everything we've done now, like, through the ups and downs, it was always about community. And that's a special thing about Oakland, especially. And what made me really want to stay in Oakland, coming from New York, is, like, I felt the sense of community the minute I stepped on in this town.
Awesome. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's so special, and that's what I'm about. It's not about winning awards anymore and this and that. It's about always building community, having the community there for you,
Mhm.
representing the culture as much as we can, and really pushing the narrative on that. Like, really making
So
it.
how are you feeling at this time with your restaurant? Are you really feeling, you know what, I'm gonna, I know what I've learned and I'm gonna infuse those techniques and all of that, but
Yeah.
this is truly me. Are you really comfortable, unapologetic about this is Nelson? Um,
Yes.
when you go, okay, awesome,
Oh yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. The menu, the way the ingredients I'm bringing in, like, the connection with my roots. I'm doing more kind of Afro Latin, and I
Mhm.
call it Afro Latin to be more broader because for me, it's not just about the Dominican side. It's really appreciating all our influences, especially the African side.
Right.
I think we're bringing something different. A lot of us chefs who are showcasing how large and broad and rich and beautiful the diaspora is.
Mhm.
We're not just Black Americans. We come from all over the place. We
Absolutely.
influence the world. Our ingredients influence the world, and we always have to give tribute to that. And that's where I am in my life as a chef, even coming after from Top Chef, more in
Mhm.
tune with who I am and my food. I
Let's talk
think,
about that. Top Chef, how'd that come about? That must have been an amazing phone call to receive.
yeah, I thought it was fake the first time they called
They
because it
never
is,
do that to people. I've been hearing that.
yeah, it was in the height of the pandemic. I didn't apply for it. They called me and invited me, which is really special. Um, it's yeah, I thought it was fake at first. I'm like, no, this can't be real. We're
Mhm.
dealing with a pandemic. Like, there's
Uh-huh.
no way Top Chef is happening. And I hung up the phone, but luckily they kept calling, and I realized, wow, okay. This is real. This is
They're
what an
persistent because I believe Trey Wilcox kept hanging up on them too. So you're not
yeah,
the only one that keeps hanging up on them.
yeah. You just never know. Like, you never expect things like that.
Mhm.
You're just in your grind, and just living life and trying to build up your businesses, trying to survive, and you get this amazing phone call from this opportunity of something that you've been watching for years.
Right,
And when I finally realized it was real, I was like, oh wow, this is okay. This is an opportunity. Can I do this or not?
right.
And to be honest with you, you know me, like, I'm always at my places.
Mhm.
At that, if Sobra Mesa would have been open still and I would have had two, I probably would have said no. But I
Okay.
think it was the right situation where one was closed. We're dealing with just doing takeout and doing relief meals. My team has it. I have a fantastic team and
Wonderful.
take care of this. I'm going to take this opportunity to do this and just go for it. Just like that first time when I realized I'm going to sign up for culinary school, it was that same kind of moment where, like,
You
Okay, I
know,
just have
you knew that you knew that you
yeah,
knew.
yeah. And for me, it was like this different time because the way I am now, it wasn't about getting on the show and just showcasing that I'm going to be the best chef there. It
Right,
was still the mindset of like, let me showcase something positive for my people. Let's get
right.
more representation. I
Absolutely.
told myself I'm not going to do the old school style of cooking. I'm going to go Afro Latin, and I'm
Mhm.
going to stick to what I know and what I want to go where I want to go with my
Right.
food because that's going to show something really special on TV. Everyone's so down right now with everything going on, the negativity.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just go for it and show positivity and
Well, and
just
you
be
have such an amazing cast. I mean, they're
right.
all the chefs on there are amazing, but I mean,
Oh yeah,
between Chris and Dawn, and I mean, and you guys, I just love how you guys are still doing things together on
yeah.
social media. But let's talk about was that experience you never can prepare for it, right? Even if you watch
No,
it,
definitely not.
you think you're watching the moves, but you never can prepare.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that were really like, "Whoa, what did I sign up for?" Or, you know were there any of those moments, and how what was your technique, your strategy of getting through?
Yeah, for me, it was like when we all walked in together, it was just this kind of aura and about this thing, like seeing the big Top Chef sign and being in this moment, seeing Padma walk in, like it was like butterflies in your stomach. That's
Mhm,
that feeling again, like
mhm,
feeling like wow, this is once in a lifetime. Then the more we did it, like it was so hard. I think the hardest thing for me is the quick fires, especially.
okay.
One, the kitchen was bigger this time because of COVID, because they're trying to give us all more than 6 feet and this and that and be separated. Um, so physically, I wasn't ready to be running that much in the kitchen at 40 years old. Um, it was that, but also like just the way they kind of tire you out in a way. It
Okay.
was like being a cook again and working those 90-hour weeks,
Wow.
because everything's nonstop. Everyone only sees a week to week, but it's so nonstop. The interviews and the cooking, and once the clock hits, the clock is real. Like
Mhm,
everything's a big production, and
mhm,
it's so amazing production. It was amazing for me to see that because I always wanted to be a producer back in the days.
mhm.
See how they really make this so magical and such an iconic show. But when the clock hits, it's a real thing. Like that, it's 20 minutes to cook and that's it. And it's not easy because for me, especially and a lot of us who are there, we're perfectionists, or we at
Right,
least try to be, and we need to think. We're thinking about our menus and our food more in a thoughtful way, right?
right,
We can't just think about something so fast. I can't.
right,
I can't think of a dish in 2 minutes. I need to think things through. I need to make sure it's going to tell a story
right.
that's going to make
It's
sense.
very intentional, very intentional.
Yeah, maybe younger days, yeah, because we didn't know who we were and we just want to throw things together.
Mhm.
I would have been done better with that, but I just couldn't pull through with that. With the challenges, it was much better. You had a little more time, so I was doing well with that. But it was a feeling of like, as hard as it was, what was special for us too, especially the ones of color and black chefs, like we looked at each other, we like, wow, this is the most black chefs they ever had on the show. For one, this is a special opportunity for us to really showcase our culture more.
Right.
Even though we were all black, we all represented different sides of the diaspora,
Mhm.
and that was a special thing. And we realized that. We told each other that, like, let's just be us. Let's cook our food. Let's think of our people. Let's think of our diaspora, and
And I
just
love seeing Chris seem to really come into his
oh
Haitian
yeah,
roots on the
you
show.
see
He
that,
really did.
yeah.
He
It's it's
really did.
it's amazing because he was just doing French and New American this and that. Like now,
Mhm.
cooking with his family, and when we cook together, like really dig into our history. Um, it's a special thing. It's a
Wow,
special connection with who we are, and it's great because people are susceptible to that now. They're
wow,
appreciating that.
wow. How has that experience changed you? Not necessarily in your cooking, but just as a person and and maybe who you are as a chef.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I think for me is just like being more cognizant of being more thoughtful with the food, being
Mhm.
more intentional with not just the food but the concept, the
Right,
whole experience. Everything that comes around being in my spaces has to represent that, has to represent the culture,
right.
has to tell a story. And for me as a person, like really digging into who I am more and
Mhm,
giving tribute to that and wanted to learn more and wanted to teach others too. But
mhm.
as a people, we need to teach ourselves about our history first before we start trying to teach others. So for me, it's just like digging more and more, appreciating more of where I come from, and that's past the Dominican side,
Mhm.
and always thinking about giving tribute wherever I do. Any events that I do is always about intentional with what I'm doing,
Right.
the stories that I'm telling, um, in panels too, in podcasts. Like everything has to be more intentional, and it has to be about really how do you see the world? How do you see your community? What do you want to give back to your community and overall? And when I make a community too, it's not just a Oakland community. It's past that.
Right.
Is when you are on TV, how do you represent yourself? How do
Mhm.
you represent for others and the youth to see you, a person that looks like them, being in this kind of pedestal? And what are you going to do with that? Far are you going to go with it? And how are you going to represent? So
Wow.
that's always in my mind now. Like really, how do I keep representing myself and my people as much as I can?
And
And,
I
and
think you carry that over into Sobra Mesa. So tell us about that concept.
yeah, so you see that that's the culmination of everything. That's like from when I first started to now, and how I'm really kind of focusing more on these roots and
Mhm.
showcasing it in a full experience. Because when you walk in there, you the lush colors, the plants, the food,
Mhm.
the ingredients, the back bar, cool spirits I'm using, and we're showcasing things from Africa and the Caribbean islands. Is It's the culmination of the story I want to tell. Like this is everything we are. The music. It's just like this whole experience of like what makes me who I am,
Mhm.
and how big and beautiful the diaspora is.
Okay.
Every
Well,
time I mention Sobra Mesa, it's like it's all about the diaspora, and
wow.
it's about teaching even our people how much we influence the world. So when you step in there, you're on vacation. It's definitely a destination. Like
Nice.
alaMar turned to want to be a destination, turned to a neighborhood restaurant, and it's all about the neighborhood and the people in Oakland. Sobra Mesa is like it's in Oakland, we always give tribute to Oakland, but
Mhm.
it's a destination. It's a place that you feel like you're away from everything else. You can be in West Africa, you can be in the Caribbean
Yeah,
islands,
that
in
is
South
true.
America.
That
Like
is true.
everything's telling that story of like just like you're somewhere special,
Right.
but it
Now,
represents us.
absolutely. So I want to bring it summary again. So 10 years cooking around in New York,
Yeah,
come to San Francisco about 5 years cooking, and then launch your own restaurants. My point of that all is this has been a journey uh,
exactly.
to where you are now and all of the amazing opportunities that we've seen from the James partnering with the James Beard. I attended an event with the James Beard Awards last year. You're doing Dwayne Wade's When We Gather
Yeah.
later. The Levi's opportunity, working with the city of Oakland. How does that feel knowing that all of everything that you have done up to this point, now it's all the seeds that you've planted are
Yeah.
really starting to bloom.
It's crazy. I never get to sit down and really like kind of absorb all that.
Mhm.
For me, it's like I got to keep going. It's that mindset. Like I just gotta keep going. I'm in this beautiful situation and moment where all that hard work is paying off,
Mhm.
but there's still more hard work to do.
Right,
You know, but definitely when I do like think about it now, it means a lot to me.
right.
It's
Do you
about
stop and smell the roses? You got it, at least for a second, at least for a second.
at least for a second here and there. I think when I
Mhm.
really kind of focus on that, but it's when I do kind of get a chance to reflect, it, it's it's a beautiful feeling for me. Like
Mhm.
all this hard work, this journey. We all have to go through journeys to
Right.
reach our full potential.
Mhm.
Um, but when you reach that potential, there's so much more to do. The journey never ends. You got to continue that journey, continue that story, continue your legacy.
Right.
It's a legacy I'm trying to build, and it's about building others and the youth more in this industry, especially. That's the legacy I want. It's not just about my food; it's about the community work, the people I uplifted, people I inspired, people who inspire me. Like just building positivity all around, and building our culture to the fullest.
Right.
That's
Now,
that's important.
was there ever, I know once you really started alaMar, it was sort of less focus on awards and that type of recognition and really,
Yeah,
community and things. But was there ever any moment where you were like, not that you wanted the recognition, but you know, what I guess my point is, what keeps you going? What kept you going through this period, when you didn't see Levi's coming, you didn't see all the other opportunities coming? What really kept you going to fight another day, right? To get up and not, you know what I mean? But it's a
Yeah,
tough industry. It's long hours, it's
really is.
personalities, it's rising food cost, all of that. What kept you going, Nelson?
For me, is the chip on the shoulder, but also not want to be a failure. I
Okay.
think to be completely honest with you is like that was the one thing telling myself you're I don't want to be a failure. I
Okay.
don't want this to fail. And that was a chip on my shoulder. Like let's keep going and fighting because
Mhm.
I don't want people to see me as that. And I don't want to call myself a failure.
Right.
So I'm going to be my harshest critic if that happens. You know,
And
but
what's failure to you? That's a question that comes up for any business owner, right? And
yeah,
what does failure and success, I'm finding, have different meanings for different people,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So what does failure look like to you? Because I would look at it as you didn't fail. You gave it all you got.
yeah,
And knowing you, you went from A to Z trying to make it work. And that's not a failure.
yeah, yeah.
But what would you say failure is to you?
It's definitely change.
Okay.
I think the way you just told it right now, that's kind of the way I think now too.
Okay.
Um, like,
So you're probably on S, right? No, just joking. I gotta go down the alphabet, and then I have
yeah.
C. So you're on S. No, just joking.
No, but definitely, there's a lot of meanings to failure.
Mhm.
For me, like the things we've done. If I had to close alaMar today, I would still be proud of everything we've done.
Okay.
I think back in the days, especially those first few years, I would have just felt complete failure. Like, no, we didn't do anything well. We just
Mhm.
failed. It was bad.
Mhm.
But now realizing all the positive moments and all the beautiful things we've done will be number one for me.
Right.
And we can all do it again. There's a lot of wonderful chefs and owners who have closed down their places but opened new places, the
Mhm.
right situation. So that mindset is embedded in me now. Like
Mhm.
if things don't go wrong, still have an exit plan, but you can do it again and be even better.
Right.
The feeling of like we get knocked down, but we get back up. You
Absolutely.
know, uh,
Absolutely.
so failure is that for me. It's just like you only fail if you don't give it your all.
Right.
If you're complacent and you fail, that's a failure. Somebody who never fall back, who just sits back and lets things kind of wind down and
Mhm.
let it go. Kind of going back to that place I worked at, Marbella. These guys who had a restaurant for 30 years and were always grinding. And then that last concept, it's like they just let it go. They didn't fight back when
Right.
things were going wrong. There was no conversations or ways of turning things around. It was just like, well, whatever happens, happens.
Got
You know,
you. Got you.
I don't want to be that person.
Absolutely. Well, I know we've been chatting. This has been wonderful. Couple. What is some of the work? What's next on your plate? What is some of the next work that you want to do?
What's next on play is just keep doing these cool events. Just kind of more representation, maybe some more TV work,
Mhm.
maybe a book deal.
I was
You
gonna
know,
say, where's your cookbook, Nelson? Need a cookbook.
never know. Maybe I got to start soon. But
10 speed
for me,
in San Francisco. 10 speed.
that would be amazing. For me, yeah, just continue what I'm doing. Continue with my businesses, giving back to community,
Mhm.
bringing beautiful things to the city of Oakland. Just getting all the opportunities, just representing myself and the culture as much as I can.
Right.
It's a thing where I need to sit down and really like focus on like what's the next step
Right.
because there's so much going on. It's sometimes overwhelming mentally, but for me, it's always that feeling like not many people like me get these opportunities. Let's just be humble and be grateful. So
Mhm.
I'll just keep pushing forward. You know, is my quota right now. Even when you saw in the Levi's above those hands, my quote, and this is my motto now. It's just like always moving forward, but always look back and give respect and celebrate the past. You know,
Absolutely. I love
it's
that.
the Sankofa is really important to me. and that's my mindset now. Like, I'm always pushing forward, but never forget about the past. Respect everything that's going on. Respect the journey.
We're standing on someone's shoulders, and we always need to
Yeah,
remember that.
exactly,
Wow.
exactly.
Well, Nelson, thank you for talking
Thank you,
today. This
Sheree.
is amazing. Tell our listeners where they can find you.
You can find me here in Oakland, California. alaMar Kitchen and Bar is on Grand Avenue. Granda Valdez is my first baby, 8.5 years old. Got to check it out. Very family friendly, seafood centric, but you got to get those oxtails. Cherie is a
Yes,
testament to that.
yes, yes.
And then also have a beautiful cocktail bar called Sobra Mesa, which is on 1618 Franklin Street, basically 17th and Franklin. Beautiful place. It just represents the diaspora to its full potential, to the way I see it and the way I want to show the beauty of it. Um, it's an amazing place. You got to check it out. We have do beautiful tapas, cocktails. The experience is just fun, vibrant, and sexy.
Awesome. And then on social media, where can we find you?
Social media, Chef Nell 4, the number 4, on Instagram and Facebook. Also have my own website now,
Oh,
finally, um, www.nelsonherman.com. It's really cool, and it showcases some cool videos and a lot of that journey that we've been talking about today. And
awesome.
I'm continuing full forward. So
All right. Well, Nelson, we look forward to many, many more things to come from you for
thank
sure.
you.